Right, man. Welcome.
Herbo.
What is up, man?
Chilling, my brother. Chilling, my brother. You know what I'm saying? Chilling like a feeling, man.
Rod, I'm not
Yes,
gonna
sir.
lie, bro. I think what is this, the third episode that we've done since the Super Bowl, man? I miss football already. Like it's so hard. It's so hard on me to just have a Sunday and there's no football. Like this is rough. This is rough.
You,
This is
you
gonna
know
be a
what's funny,
long.
Herb?
What's up?
Nah, I was just gonna say, like, I remember I couldn't wait. Like by the end of the season, like when we were getting towards the Super Bowl, I felt like I needed a break, bro, because we had been going so hard. In the past few weeks, dog, I feel empty, dog. I feel like I feel like a part of me is missing. You know, that's what football does. That's what football does,
Nah,
Herb. Man, it makes you feel
man.
like a part of you is missing, man.
It is gonna be a long off season. It's gonna be very, very like we're only in February. Like football doesn't come back to September. It's gonna be a long, long off season. But when there is no football, there's opportunity to talk about things that we don't get to talk about during the season, bro. And me and you, bro, we love the history of football. We love the eras of football. We love talking about all of the things that we've learned and gone back and all of these players that we've got to hear about and use the internet to learn and grow and acquire information about the history of football, bro. So that's kind of sort of what I want to do with this episode and a bunch of episodes going forward is to talk about the game of football in ways that a lot of people don't actually have conversations about, right? Like that was part of the reason why I decided to do this with you. You feel me? It's a twofold thing with this podcast, Fin Outta Water, right? One is to have conversations with genuine football fans and give a voice to genuine football fans. Two, have conversations that not everybody is having, bro. So one of those conversations is this ring culture that I'm starting to see infiltrate the NFL. Like ring culture in the NBA is huge. And it's really only in the NBA, right? Like when it comes to soccer, you feel me? Like we'll talk about the Ballon d'Ors and we'll talk about if you have a World Cup or not, blah, 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 blah. Right? But a great soccer player is a great soccer player. A great hockey player is a great hockey player. A great
Baseball player.
gymnast, great baseball player is a great baseball player, right? Like we understand and we allow individuals to excel in their sports, whether they have a championship or not, right? However, when it comes to basketball, it is do you have a championship or not, right? That is what it is. And is it fair? Absolutely not. But with basketball, players have more control over what happens in the game, so I understand it. Outside of an individual sport, like a hockey, like a racing, like any kind of racing, whether you're doing NASCAR, F1, whatever, right? Those are
Tennis.
individual. Tennis, those are individual. Basketball is a team sport, but one person could make up for so many things. And football is the ultimate team sport. It is stupid to have ring culture conversations in the NFL. But here we are. And the reason why I want to have this conversation is because this past 2 weeks, past 3 weeks, however long it's been, since Jalen Hurts has won a Super Bowl, this, like, the things that I'm hearing are driving me crazy. If you did not think Jalen Hurts was a top three quarterback at any point in the season before the Super Bowl, how is a Super Bowl make him a top three quarterback now? How does he skip? How does he skip Josh Allen? How does he skip Lamar Jackson? How does he skip Matt Stafford, who has a Super Bowl as well? How? What are we doing? Why are we letting ring culture define NFL players and NFL quarterbacks, dog? Like, yes, if you win a Super Bowl, and I have a list of every single quarterback who's won a Super Bowl, we'll get to it, we'll break it down. If you won a Super Bowl in the NFL, it is rare that you were not a good quarterback. There's been maybe 4 bad quarterbacks to win a Super Bowl in the history of the Super Bowl. And I'm going back to Lynn Johnson, Johnny Unitas. I'm going back all the way. Good quarterbacks win Super Bowls. It is incredibly hard to win Super Bowls. That's just how it is.
Mm-hmm.
We have a quote from Joe Montana, who was long considered the greatest quarterback of all time. He doesn't even think he's the greatest quarterback of all time. Joe Montana does not think himself, a man with 4 Super Bowls and I think 3 Super Bowl MVPs or 2 Super Bowl MVPs, if I'm not mistaken, does not think he's the greatest of all time. Rod, you have the quote.
Yo, man. So listen, it's always funny, Herbie, when these old men are yelling at the clouds, right? Because we're in this era, there's been so much that has happened since then. But this is what Joe Montana had to say, and it's a very interesting thing. This was during like an interview recently. He goes, "Put Marino in today's game where he gets free release, and his receivers, holy cow, weren't very big. Now these guys are 6'4", 6'5". I think Marino is probably one of the most unsung heroes of the game. People don't talk enough about him or realize the numbers that he put up during the times that he put them up. He had a quick release. I had to step into a lot of things to get enough force on the ball. He had the perfect torque of his upper body and strength to deliver the ball quickly at a fast release with accuracy." Herbie, when it comes to what Joe Montana is saying, I know when we have these discussions, it's kind of hard. It's really hard to call someone who never won, because Dan Marino, for those, I mean, at this point, if you don't know Dan Marino didn't win a Super Bowl, I don't know what kind of football fan you are. But Dan Marino is one of the greatest quarterbacks in NFL history. He's a top 10. I think he is a forever top 10. I don't give a fuck who I got to keep out, Herbie. Dan Marino ain't leaving my top 10, and I'm going to explain to y'all why. Herbie, Dan Marino did something. And I'm just gonna pull up some numbers.
Wait. Before you get to the numbers, let me clarify the point, and then we'll get to the Dan Marino point. Because the reason why I want you to say that quote is that is somebody in himself, Joe Montana, understanding I went against this person. I understand that the only reason why I am more successful than Dan Marino is because I had better players on my side of the field, on both sides of the field. I had the greatest football player of all time in Jerry Rice. I had, at the time, the greatest head coach of all time in Bill Walsh. Dan Marino had, I'm having
Don Shula.
He had Don Shula. Come on, guys. No disrespect. There's going to be the Shula family. Don't come for me. Don't kill me. At that time, Don Shula was not better than Bill Walsh in the 80s. He was not a better head coach. He was not... Rod, Bill Walsh made the West Coast, bro. He created an offense that it took a decade for people to catch up and find a defense for, dog. He was ahead of his time at the time that Bill Walsh and Don Shula were at the same time. I'm not saying that Don Shula is not comparable to Bill Walsh. I'm saying at the time that they were competing for championships, Bill Walsh was a better head coach. If you want to argue that as a Dolphins fan, right, you are be my guest. Right?
I won't argue that. It's just a matter of Don Shula went 26 straight seasons without a losing record, man. He was as great a coach as you can imagine. I think the talent wasn't up to par, Herbie. You know what I mean? Because Bill Walsh, for sure. That's not. That's you know what I mean?
That's not deniable.
When he had talent, we had the Killer Bees, and go ahead, continue your point.
No, the reason why I give it to Bill Walsh is because Bill Walsh created an offense that it took a decade to catch up to find an actual defense for. Right, that's the reason why. Right, Bill Walsh was how we view Andy Reid now, prime Andy Reid. Right, that's who he was. They're still using what he does in the offense today in 2025. That's still foundational. You know what I'm saying? The West Coast offense is still foundational. 30, 40 years later, that's nuts. But that's neither here nor there. The reason why I want to bring that up is because we can't allow a Super Bowl to make quarterbacks better than they were. A Super Bowl should get you free beer in your city for the rest of your life. That's what it should do. Mm-hmm. Right? That's it. The reason why Tom Brady is the GOAT is because he has all the stats and the Super Bowls. That's it. That's really the reason, because we already know that he's great. The Super Bowls are a reflection of his greatness, but it's who he is as a player first, and then the Super Bowls are second to that. And the reason why he's the greatest is because he has the most. If we are arguing the greatest of the great, we need something to separate them. You feel me? That's that argument. But if you're not in that class, a Super Bowl should not make you better than you are. That's nonsense. That's nonsense. Jalen Hurts is Joe Flacco right now. Does anybody when Joe Flacco won the Super Bowl, people were having conversations. Can you say that Joe Flacco is the best quarterback in the league? And that immediately went away, bro. 2 years into it, bro. Like, because at the end of the day, who he was came back to reality. Jalen Hurts could win 3 Super Bowls, and I could be proven wrong, but we can't be in a situation where we are saying fuck an NFL MVP season, fuck two NFL MVP seasons for Lamar Jackson. You know what I'm saying? Fuck everything that these guys have done just because Jalen Hurts is winning the Super Bowl. And I'm not trying to pick on Jalen Hurts. People are going to say you're a Cowboys fan, you're a hater. I'm not. I'm really not. I just want to give respect to the totality of people's career. And we can't. This is why Eli Manning is up for the Hall of Fame. We've allowed 2 Super Bowls to make Eli a Hall of Famer, when for his entire career, he was mediocre. He was bad more than he was good for his career. But because he won twice, had 2 good years out of 16, we want to make him better than he is just because he won a championship? No.
And the name,
man.
too. And the name, too.
That's just
He's
nasty.
a Manning. He's a Manning. So. The
That's
name
just
carries you. The name can carry you.
Yeah, but True Blazer, first thing, shout out to True Blazer in the chat, man.
True Blazer.
He said this a while ago.
OG
Exactly.
knowledge.
Football is a one sport where you don't play defense, and defense 3 units on the team. And boom, this is what I want to do right here. 5,000 yards in 1984, only 200 threw for 4,000 Sims and Lomax. This is where I want to bring you back in with the stats, because the further we get removed from that 84 season, the less sense it makes. We can never put what he did in 1984 in that era, where you would a 50 touchdown, or I'm not gonna say 50 touchdown season, a 35 touchdown season in this era was what, 20 touchdowns in the 80s, 18 touchdowns. If you threw 18 touchdowns, bro, that's like 40 touchdowns this year, bro. Like that is that, like, right, you handle it, bro. I still can't. Just looking at these numbers, I can't really. We will never, ever, 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 ever really appreciate what Dan Marino did in 1984, bro. But go ahead.
I mean, Herbie, I have Dan Marino's, the numbers right here, right? So in 1984, Herbie, he threw 48 touchdowns, and he had a passer rating of 108.9. Herbie, this was in 1984. I have a list of some of the other all-time great passing seasons. I will have the year and the numbers. Peyton Manning in 2013. 2013, this, mind you, Marino threw for 5K in 1984, 48 touchdowns, all right? In 2013, Peyton Manning, 54-77, 5,477 yards, 55 touchdowns, 115 passer rating. In 2007, Tom Brady, the infamous 18-1, 4,800 yards, 50 touchdowns, 117 rating. Patrick Mahomes in 2018, 5,097 yards, 50 touchdowns. Aaron Rodgers in 2011, 4,600 yards, 45 touchdowns. Drew Brees, 2018, 3,992 yards, 32 touchdowns, 115.7 passer rating. This was the year he set the completion record, which is why it's one of the great passing seasons. Matt Ryan, Herbie, he almost had 5,000 yards, 38 touchdowns, and this was his MVP Super Bowl year. Kurt Warner, 4,000 yards, 41 touchdowns in 1999. Didn't even, like, Herbie, Big Ben had a 5,000 yard season, 34 touchdowns, Herbie. Like, he had the highest passing yardage season without an MVP, Big Ben. Herbie, you look at all these guys, this is the only person that is this Kurt Warner isn't even close, Herbie, because he was in 99. Marino was in 84, 15 years prior. It took 15 years, Herbie, for another quarterback to even have a season that was kind of remotely comparable. You know what I'm saying? And that just goes to show you, Herbie, that when it comes to football in particular, right, to like what you're talking about, I think it's tough, because when we talk about GOAT conversations, championships are always going to play a factor no matter what the sport is. But if you're going to argue who the best of all, like the best quarterback all time is, Herbie, I think there's a strong case for Marino. Like, I think the greatest of all time and the best of all time don't have to be mutual things, Herbie. I think you can separate those two things. And, Patrick Mahomes, if he doesn't become the GOAT, is aiming for that, being the boat, because he's about as talented as Marino with, Tom Brady's intangibles. So when you look at, dog, like, just the fact that Dan Marino, like, if you were to put his season in today's era, Herbie, that's like somebody throwing for 6,000, almost 7,000 yards and like 60 touchdowns. Like, if we saw somebody do that, Herbie, we would be like, yo, who the fuck is this guy? Is this Marino's fucking clone or his child, illegitimate child or something? Like, Herbie, I don't think people will ever, like, and it's funny, Herbie, when you talk to older fans, not even just older Dolphin fans. I've talked to an older Raiders fan, a couple older Patriots fans, older fans, guys who that was their era, much like we grew up watching Peyton Manning and Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers and Drew. There are guys who grew up watching Marino and Montana and John Elway. And these guys will tell you, Herbie, non-Dolphin fans, they'll be like, oh, Marino's the best I ever seen. Because just the way, and if you've ever watched Marino's highlights, Herbie, that tells you everything. Marino in 84 makes the game look like how it looks today. And Herbie, the game was a very different game in the 80s. Like, people who just got into football in recent years don't understand the physicality of the game, how tough it was. Like, these receivers now don't get touched. What's called as illegal contact and pass interference, Herbie, in illegal contact in the 80s, nigga, was illegal contact. Like, it was like, damn, you just punched him in the nuts, bro. Like, he's just trying to run a route. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like how it was. Like, these receivers had to literally fight to get open. It's not like how it is these days. And I think because Marino didn't win, there is a lack of appreciation that will always ensue because of that. You understand? And it's a shame because people put so much emphasis on winning a championship. And in football, I think it's football, like you pointed out, Herbie, the ultimate team sport. It's the least fair. Okay, it's the least fair thing to do to say, oh man, that guy wasn't all that. That guy was a choker. Like, Herbie, at the end of the day, in football, you have a 53-man roster. In football, like True Blazer alluded to earlier, you have 3 units. You don't just play offense and defense. You have a special teams. Like, Herbie, how many times did Tom Brady's kickers seal the deal for him? How many kickers have sealed the deal for guys to win Super Bowls? It's not like every quarterback who's ever won a championship won on a game-winning touchdown or won on a running back. The kickers had to come into play. Herbie, look at the Buffalo Bills. Imagine Scott Norwood, who missed that first kick in that Super Bowl against the Giants. How different would history be if he makes that kick? You understand what I'm saying? Like, football comes down to so many different factors. It's such a nuanced game. To reduce it down to, oh, this quarterback has, like, listen, Tom Brady earned the GOAT talk, Herbie, because not only did he win 6 championships with arguably the greatest head coach of all time, he won the championship after he left. And he won it with a different cast of characters. He brought his system to, he worked with Bruce Arians. But at the end of the day, Herbie, Tom Brady gets the GOAT moniker because he went to 2 different locations and won. And at his first location, he won at the highest level. He matched Michael Jordan, Herbie, who was legendary in sports, right? 6 for 6, right? So, Herbie, it's a damn shame, man. And then you look to your point about the Jalen Hurts conversation. Herbie, I am not hating on Jalen Hurts at all. He has ended up being a better quarterback than I gave him credit for. But Herbie, outside of Eagles fans, bro, there's nobody in their right mind, except maybe the women who are in love with this man. Because I see tons of women post about how he's the hottest guy in the NFL and all that. Hey, ladies, that's y'all. Listen, that's y'all playground. But Herbie, anybody who watched football, you can't say Jalen Hurts is a top 3 quarterback and ignore everything around him. Ignore a Saquon Barkley who had a legendary season as a running back. Ignore an Eagles defense, Herbie, that is literally one of the most talented defenses we've seen, had one of the greatest postseason runs we've seen. And Herbie, you look at the head coach, you look at everything that is surrounding him, the receivers, and that's not to take away from him, Herbie, but we can't boost him up just because everything around him is great. Because Herbie, you can't convince me that if he had far less talent, he's doing the same thing. We haven't seen that. He has been blessed to be in a good situation, and he has made the most of it. He's got 2 Super Bowls, Herbie. He has led a team to 2 Super Bowls, regardless of how any of us feel. That puts him in a tier that's even above many of his peers. Do I think he's better than Josh Allen? No. Do I think he's better than Lamar Jackson? No. Do I think he's better than Joe Burrow? No. But he won. He's won, and he's been to 2 Super Bowls.
And
So
again, that's the thing. Why can't it just be that? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's the point. Why can't it just be that? Jalen Hurts is a really good football player that got the 2 Super Bowls. End point. That doesn't mean that now I have to say Jalen Hurts is better than everybody not named Patrick Mahomes. And that doesn't mean I have to say that Dan Marino is worse than Eli Manning because Eli Manning has 2 Super Bowls. All of that shit is nuts. Like, all of it is nuts. We cannot let NBA Michael Jordan versus LeBron James ring culture infect the NFL, bro. There's too many variables. There's too many things that go wrong. There's too many things that go right that are out of your control. You could win a game and throw 3 picks just because your defense is playing lights out.
Jared Goff won a game this season where he threw 5, Herbie. He won a game this season where he threw 5 interceptions. If it was up to him, they lose the game with flying colors. But the rest of the team came through. That's football.
We have more information than we've ever had. We have more access to information than we've ever had. We cannot get to the point where we are dumber than we've ever been when it comes to football discourse, dog. Like, I get it. It's about the scoreboard. It's about the final result. It's about the W or the L. It's about the greatest quote in the history of sports. The most obvious, but the most impactful end quote. You play to win the game. Hello. I get it. But there's context. There's nuance. There's reality to what we're saying. Dan Marino was ahead of his time. Dan Marino was doing things that nobody else was doing because he's truly special, and he might have been the best quarterback we've ever seen. But that is going to get lost because he didn't win a Super Bowl. And that sucks. It's not it's part of his fault because he ultimately didn't do what it took to win. But there was a lot of things that's out of his control. I don't want to see Dan Marino get lost in translation because other people have won a Super Bowl and they somehow usurp him. I don't want to see Jim Kelly get lost in translation because he went to 4 straight Super Bowls and lost them all, but he went to 4 straight Super Bowls and he was great in his era. I don't want people to look at your Pro Football Reference and ignore everything else, ignore your All Pros, ignore your Pro Bowls, ignore all of the accolades that you accumulated on the way throughout your career, and just go to that final section, Super Bowl, and it says a 0, are you trash? Or they ignore all the picks, the lack of accolades, and they go to that final section and they say, Super Bowl 1, he was great. No. Let's have this conversation when it comes to quarterbacks, dog. Like, we can't lose the plot. We cannot lose the plot that bad, bro. All right, man. Next topic though, because we actually got to get to the actual crux of the show, man. Man, let's talk some Dolphins free agency, man. Like, we haven't, bro. All right, anybody that's in the chat, man, we're gonna keep it buck with you, man. We are grasping for straws, bro. It's gonna be a long 7 months to the season. But let's talk some Dolphins free agency, man. Rod, how do you feel about your team right now? How do you feel about the outlook? How do you feel about going into the 2025 season? And I'm going to make a point, and I'm going to let you have the floor. The floor is yours. This is your team. You can cook as much as you want, how long you want. But I made an observation when we were doing prep for the show, and I was reading articles, I was doing research, and it dawned on me, and I am at the point where I have to be honest, and I have to say this, and I want to get your opinion. Rod, I think outside of the Cleveland Browns, the Miami Dolphins might be in one of the 5 worst situations to be in the NFL. You are a mediocre team that's expensive and injury prone. That is a hell of a trifecta. That is a terrible trifecta.
Terrible, man. Terrible.
So what is your response to the statement that I just made in that observation, sir?
I mean, Herbie, if I had the Homer glasses on, I'd probably protest, but the Homer glasses aren't worth wearing, Herbie. They aren't worth wearing because when I put the Homer glasses on, for some reason, tears fall down. So Herbie, you're 100% right, man. The Dolphins are in probably one of, and here's the thing, Herbie, it gets better, right? This is the thing that about this team that kills me. When we have talented players that we draft, that we bring up, Herbie, we let them walk. We let Robert Hunt, who is a quality offensive lineman, we let him walk. We let Christian Wilkins, he ended up getting hurt this year, but he was a quality defensive lineman. We let him walk. Javon Holland, Herbie, he's gone. Mike McDaniel said he's free to test the market. Herbie, that is whenever a coach says you are free to test the market, that's just code language for that nigga gone. He out of here. You know what I'm saying? Because anytime that's said, these dudes don't come back. Because why? Somebody is going to pay them more money. In some people's mind, overpay. Regardless, Herbie, the Dolphins are great at drafting talent. Shout out to True Blazer. Andrew Van Ginkel was one that really hurt me, Herbie, because to have a playmaking defensive player, a playmaking linebacker, like, and that's something that we could use, Herbie. Like you're telling me we got to choose between Anthony Walker and maybe Terrell Dodson. And I like Terrell Dodson. I would like for the Dolphins to go forward with him over Anthony Walker if there has to be a choice. But Herbie, the Dolphins just put themselves in terrible situations, dog. And at the end of the day, man, you look at who we've already let go, right? They cut Mostert. Obviously, they decided to go younger at the running back position, right? We have Achan, we have Jalen Wright, and we're probably going to pick up a vet or two. We're going to probably draft a running back in the late rounds. That's actually one thing Greer is actually pretty good at drafting is running backs. We lost Kendall Fuller, Herbie, which this opens up. Now, mind you, Herbie, we lost Kendall Fuller, who when he was healthy was decent, but he was hurt a lot of the season, ended the season on IR. There's not much he could do for you. We're about to lose Javon Holland. So now our secondary is about to be in dire straits. I don't even need to get into the offensive line, right? But Herbie, since we are now in free agency period and we don't know exactly where they're going to go, Mike McDaniel in his presser, I think it was either yesterday or the day before, Mike McDaniel in his presser talked about how the Dolphins were fully ready to invest in the offensive line in both free agency and the draft. Now, Herbie, with the draft coming up, obviously we're going to have our episodes where we dig into that closer towards the draft. But if there's one belief that I have, Herbie, is that when you're a team drafting, I feel like the teams that are bad and the teams that remain mediocre are the teams that draft for need. The teams that remain at the top, the teams that often seem to have talent, like a team like the Eagles, teams like the Lions right now, teams like the Ravens, they draft the best player available. And Herbie, if you don't do a good job addressing what you need in free agency, you end up stuck feeling like you have to draft for need, and as opposed to drafting the best player available. So Herbie, I need the Dolphins to strike on some of these free agents. And listen, the free agent game is a very hit or miss game, right? We got fucking Jordan Poyer, Herbie, and he was dealing with injuries, and we weren't quite sure if he was done. Newsflash, that nigga done. Jordan Poyer, get him, keep him away. Send him back to the Bills. I don't care where he goes, right? But on the flip side, you get a Calais Campbell, right? You get Calais Campbell, who was year 17, was a beast for us. So, it's always going to be a crapshoot when you go for free agents and the draft, because when a team is letting somebody go, Herbie, they're often letting them go for a reason. It might not be the most valid of reasons, but it's for a reason. But you look at the Dolphins, Herbie, and fuck it. I got a list of names right here, right? Because the two positions that I hope we address, Herbie, at least to some degree, prior to the draft. DBs, interior offensive line, right? Barbecue chicken. Facts, right? Herbie. So I was looking at the name of some of the corners that's going to be out, right? You tell me what you think about this, right? You got guys like Carlton Davis, Byron Murphy, Travarius Ward, Christian Fulton, Asante Samuel Jr. I mean, there are some names that are going to be floating around. Someone that we could either put opposite of Ramsey, or if we decided to put Ramsey at the nickel and maybe draft a corner in the draft, maybe with our first pick. You know what I'm saying? Look, and then when it comes down to it, Herbie, I actually thought about what homie said. Your homeboy that was a Vikings fan. I think it was Ashton.
Ashton, yeah, Ashton.
Yeah.
A-Town
He talked
24.
about A-Town 24. He talked about T. Higgins. I actually had him on my list, Herbie. I said, if anything happens with Tyreek, I'd be down with T. Higgins. I just don't know if the money would
I
work.
was okay. So before you get in the weeds, because I have the list of NFL.com's top 100 free agents, and he's number one on the list, right? And I was actually going to ask you that question. What is the realistic way? Because the thing about the Dolphins is there's two ways to have this conversation. There's what you want as a fan and what's realistic, right? What you want as a fan is give me everybody that you could give me. Give me every fucking free agent that we could get. But what's realistic is what's the blueprint to get there? You guys have $5 million. That's all you got.
Well, no, it's not. Well, actually, that's gonna go up because Armstead.
Yeah, because you're gonna cut Bradley Chubb, and you're gonna cut Teron Armstead. Right, we
Well,
understand that.
no, he took a pay cut. We have 14 more million to work with, and they're gonna. And if they restructure Austin Jackson's contract, if they get some restructures, we could free up like 40 million. I mean, there's a lot of ifs in that, but with Teron Armstead, we got 14 million saved, dog. So that's one. So we'll see what happens next, bro. They could restructure Tua's contract, which I wouldn't want them to do that. Like, you know what I mean? We could get 19 million there, but I'd rather them not do that.
Okay, and for the people who when people are saying restructure a contract, what that means is the money that they're supposed to be owed, they're still going to be owed, right? What happens is instead of it counting against the cap as hard money, they just changed it to be a bonus. Like they just said, "Hey, bro, just show up to work and we'll give you a $5 million
signing bonus." Yeah,
signing bonus, right? So
yeah.
that's how you free up stuff. That's how you restructure. The problem is that if you do that too much, it hamstrings you down the road. That's what happened with the New Orleans Saints. They kept restructuring contracts, keep restructuring contracts. The problem is that ultimately adds more dead money down the road. So you can save money if you do it smartly. Do you trust this front office to handle the situation the correct way?
I mean, Herbie, that's hard to say. I mean, well, I don't know how much longer this front office really has, right?
And that's the problem. That is the problem. When you are a fan of a team that is in the worst position to be, where the front office is going to work in the best efforts of themselves, not necessarily the best interest of the team. They're going to do things that are going to hurt the team down the road because they might not be there. So why should they give a fuck? Why should they care? So, and again, but this is just about next season, so that's neither here nor there. Let's not get caught in the woods. But go ahead, sir.
But yeah, man. Look, when it comes down to it, Herbie, when it comes to free agency talk, it's hard to say what direction we're gonna go. But I'll give you an eye on. I really didn't pay as much attention to the corners yet, because I feel like at 13 we'll probably end up drafting a DB in that slot, possibly a corner. I haven't dug into some of the draft. I've been looking at some names for the draft of certain guys, Herbie, like just random.
Fuck the draft. Let's just keep it with the free agents. Like the draft, we got plenty of time to do the draft.
So when it came to the guards, I was looking at some names at some guys. I didn't work out the cap or the money. So I'm just throwing these names out there, right? The whether they could work, whether we could afford them, how we can make it work. That's another story. But I was looking at Trey Smith, who was a quality guard for the Kansas City Chiefs. The problem with him, and the problem with a lot of these guys on this list, Herbie, is that they had injuries, right? Trey Smith has blood clots in his lungs. So he is a health risk if you decide to go that route, which is like total Dolphins. Like it's total Dolphins, right? Like they will totally do it. You also have a guy like Will Freeze from Indianapolis, quality guard. I think he was pretty good in run blocking. You have Kevin Zeitler. He's an old guy. He's an older guy. He was on Detroit, one of those big boys on Detroit's offensive line. And you also had Patrick McCarry, the guard from Baltimore. And the good thing about Patrick McCarry, Herbie, is that he's a real versatile type of lineman. You could put him at the tackle. So in the event, like let's say Austin Jackson goes down again, or maybe Patrick Paul gets hurt, you can kind of slot him in. But he does, at least for Baltimore for sure, he plays better at guard, which is where we would need him. We would need him because Herbie, there's no freaking way. There's no way in hell that Liam Eichenberg and Robert Jones are coming back, Herbie. Herbie, there's no way. We cannot allow that to happen, dog. Like, we can't. We just can't. Like, Herbie, here's the thing that people have to understand. In every sport, the backups, the bench guys, they're never going to be better than the starters. Rarely are they better than the starters. And if they're better than the starters, why are they on the bench, right? That's not the
exactly. Yeah.
at the end of the day, you at least want your backups to be serviceable. Herbie, our starters aren't even serviceable. Herbie, Liam Eichenberg probably wouldn't even be a backup on another team unless it's like a team like the Browns. Robert Jones starting? Herbie, he wouldn't be a backup on another team. He's that bad. Like Herbie, we have players that literally hamstring our offense. I don't think people understand. And shout out to EM Dolphin fan. You know what I'm saying? I think that's the first time I seen you comment. Appreciate the love. You know what I'm saying? I know
Okay,
you feel me.
so obviously, so let me get this point in before we go forward, right? And not to cut you off, but and it's going to tie into the next point that we're going to make because I have a list of the 20 greatest free agent signings of all time, and don't confuse greatest with best because it is slim pickings. Because spoiler alert, free agency does not exist in the NFL. It doesn't. If you're a free agent in the NFL, it's because the team wants you to be a free agent. Like it's rare where you have a situation with a Saquon Barkley and stuff like that. Those are rare. That takes monumental stupidity from a front office to allow Saquon Barkley to become a free agent.
Giants
9.9 times out of 10, a player is a free agent for a reason. Whether that player is overrated and that team does not want to pay them because they have them in their they have them in their situation and they understand more than anybody, or it is a health risk. Rod just told you about Trey Smith. Trey Smith is number 2 on this list. Trey Smith was a home run for the Kansas City Chiefs. They already had to sign Creed Humphrey. They got him in the same draft. They can't pay both of them. That is one of the rare situations where you are a cap casualty as a good player that somebody wants to keep. But he has blood clots. So that is a risk. T. Higgins, the Bengals want to keep him, but they're not going to give 2 wide receivers number 1 wide receiver money. Those are rare situations where a team wants to keep a free agent, but they can't do it. But the other 90% of the time is because that player is no longer wanted with them. So free agency in the NFL is cool, it's fine, but it is not the end-all be-all, right? Like it's not the end-all be-all, especially at offensive line, because good teams don't let good offensive linemen go.
Especially now, Herbie. Especially
now. With how hard it is to draft them, how hard it is to find them, how hard it is to get quality ones that understand your system, you ain't going nowhere, buddy, unless you absolutely have to, and we're screwed and we have no way to keep you. You feel me? Like, you have a situation where Ronnie Stanley is available, could be available if the Ravens don't re-sign him. He's probably going to go back to the Ravens.
Right.
You feel me? So it's just really hard, dog. But what were you getting at too, Rod?
Well, basically, man, the point I'm really making, Herbie, is that at the end of the day,
wait. True Blazer said, and the fish traded up for Liam Eichenberg.
It was a lie, True. It was a lie, Blaze. It was a freaking lie. To be fair, Herbie, to the GM, even though I can't stand Liam Eichenberg, he did have good tape for college. If for what it's worth. For what it's worth. Sometimes a guy could look good on film and then they get to the league and they just, for whatever reason, and Herbie, you know what? It wouldn't shock me because the Dolphins have a way of having players that underperform. We have our players that do perform.
Bad coaching,
yeah.
Man.
We have our players that do perform, and then you know what I'm saying. But then at the end of the day, too, Herbie, like a guy like Dallas Thomas, who was a turnstile for us. I can't remember the team he went to because I'm just now thinking about him. But he was actually a quality offensive lineman somewhere else. The name of the team escapes me. But we have players like Charles Harris. He's one of my most hated picks that we ever had. I think we drafted him at 15. He was a defensive end. He didn't do this. Nigga might have had like 5 sacks for us in like 3 years, right? But he actually made noise in Detroit. Like he actually went to other teams and with, at the end of the day, Herbie, sometimes players get drafted into situations that just don't work for them. Right. Like the Dolphins have players that for whatever reason, we have the players here and majority of them, they do work well in the system, but just a lot of them get hurt. We have a lot of injury prone. That's really one of our biggest problems. We need to draft guys that just don't have that moniker. Like we can't go into the second half of the season with half the team out, Herbie. Like it just like you're just never gonna win like that, bro. You can't expect.
Well, let's not get too caught up in the weeds because I mean that's more season related. I'm trying to keep it in regards to the free agency
Fair
and
enough.
stuff
Fair
like
enough.
that. Yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. But look, man. What I'm hoping, Herbie, is that listen. At the end of the day, I don't know what Will Freeze or Kevin Zeitler or do, and even an old head like Brandon Scherf, fucking Patrick McCarry. I don't know exactly what they would bring to the Dolphins, Herbie, but I guarantee Herbie, like the Rock, Herbie, like the Rock used to say, I guarantee they be better than Liam Eichenberg and Robert Jones. I guarantee it, Herbie.
Bro, one of my favorite things, one of my favorite ongoing bits, and it's not a bit, but it's an ongoing bit, is your hate, despise, and loathing of Liam Eichenberg, bro. It cracks me up every week, man. I'm not gonna hold you, dog.
I'll put it to you like this. I'll put it to you like this, and this is real rap, dog. Y'all might think I'm capping, but I'm keeping it a buck. If Liam Eichenberg saw me and he was like, "Yo, I seen you talking shit on that podcast, Herbie. I'm coming out the shirt. I'm coming out the shirt, Herbie. He might just. He's an NFL football player, Herbie, so he might crush me, but he gotta whoop me first, bro. I'm sorry, he gotta whoop me. I'm so done with him. I have no respect for him, dog. How can I have no respect for you as a man and you're a football player? No, man. Get Liam Eichenberg off my team, bro. Get him off.
All right, man. But just to drive home the point, right? So let me get this up here, man. This is to drive home the point about. And hold on, let me fix this right here. About they hold on, give me 1 second. I'm trying to get this thing fixed. If it would let me. They don't really make like NFL free agency doesn't really it doesn't really make a difference, dog. Like it really does not make a difference, right? Like Michael Turner made the top 20 greatest free agent signings of all time, bro. Like that can't happen, man. That can't happen, man.
Michael Turner's top 10 all time.
He's top 10 all time, bro. That can't happen. Let me get that fixed on my end real quick, bro. Just apologize. Give me a second.
The funny thing was, Herbie, you had mentioned you were gonna look at this list, but I was gonna look at it, but I was like, I want to be kind of surprised, man. I want to be kind of like the audience. I kind of want to see who's on this list, man. Because that's because the top free agents all time is not really something you ever think about. Like that's something you think about more in sports like basketball and baseball.
Hey, wait 1 second, bro. You check the chat to see because it's saying Sinking allocated some resources. See if we live on your end.
Oh, live on like YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube. Yeah, YouTube or some shit. I just want to make sure. Hold on.
I got you, man. I will check it out right now. I mean, we were getting steady comments. My man True Blazer. Let me see if we live. I got you, dog. I'm checking right now.
Oh yeah, we good.
Yeah, we're good. We're good.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So like I was saying, in regards to, so matter of fact, let me go to this right here, bro. Like this is nuts, bro. This is the top 20, bro. So they got Jerry Rice, they got Simeon Rice. You feel me? Michael Turner's in the top 20. This is where I said, all right, NFL free agency just never mattered, bro. No disrespect to Christian McCaffrey's daddy, bro, but Ed McCaffrey should never, ever be in no top 20 list of anything, bro. I'm sorry, bro. Like, I'm sorry. If he's one of the 20 greatest free agency signings of all time, that means free agency in the NFL has rarely ever mattered, bro. No disrespect to the great Ed McCaffrey, dog.
That's kind of wild. It's kind of wild, man.
But that's the point I'm trying to make. Like, it's like, and I think we've gotten better. I think NFL fans have gotten better. I think the NFL media has gotten better, right? Like, we don't really hype up NFL free agency anymore because we understand, like, free agency does not exist because of the franchise tag. The franchise tag absolutely did two things, and it did two things exceptionally well for the NFL owners. It suppressed salaries, it suppressed compensation, and it suppressed movement because the way you suppress salaries, the only reason why NFL players are not making 60 million, 70 million a year is because you can't go nowhere. There's no free agency. Like, you can't get to another team. One of the rare times where somebody was truly a free agent, and Deshaun Watson, you saw what happened. He got a fully guaranteed $230 million contract and got a no trade clause. He got everything he wanted. He reset the market. He broke the market. He broke the market to the point where the Ravens lied, and again they lied. He was Lamar Jackson was never going to be available. But Lamar
Never.
Jackson doesn't even have that in his contract. Lamar Jackson does not have a no trade clause. Lamar Jackson does not have a fully guaranteed contract because Lamar Jackson was not a true free agent. Lamar Jackson, by every measure, has always been better than Deshaun Watson. And Deshaun Watson got a better contract because of a very unique situation of him being a freaky ass N-word, bro. A fan, he a fan, he a fan. So free agency does not really exist. And that was by design. You know what I'm saying? So NFL, the owners, they won. They won. They won. So in relation to that, though, I do appreciate that we got way smarter about how we cover free agency, bro. It's just cool, right? Like, it's just cool. It shouldn't be the end all be all. It's not going to change your team. It's very, very rare situations, like you saw with Saquon Barkley, where it gets you immediately a Super Bowl if it's not a quarterback. Like, think about this. And we'll get to the top of the list because the top of the list makes a lot of sense, right? And matter of fact, let's do it right now. And McCaffrey is crazy. I'm just gonna keep laughing at that. That's nuts. James Ferry, you can't be the 15th best free agency signing of all time. Keenan McCardell, no shot, no disrespect to the GOAT Keenan McCardell. He should not be number 14 on any list, man. Like now it's starting to make sense. You feel me? For guys like you, guys like me, guys like True Blazers, guys like everybody in the chat, bro, real OGs of this football shit. Now it's starting to make sense with the names that you're going to see, man. Priest Holmes, 2 of the greatest running back seasons of all time, 2 of the greatest fantasy football seasons of all time. He is the reason why I started fan football, and it's crazy how he got to the Chiefs, bro. Like, these circumstances that get certain players in certain situations, bro, it's just like, that's crazy, bro. So that makes sense. Mike Vrabel, get the fuck out of here, man. Let's be honest, dog. Kevin Mawae, all right, cool. Now it makes sense. Rod Woodson leaving the Steelers, going to the Ravens, winning a Super Bowl to the Ravens. Shannon Sharp leaving the Broncos, going to the Ravens.
Winning a Super Bowl,
being a real game changer, right? Rich Gannon was an afterthought, and then he got to the Raiders and became an all-pro type quarterback, right?
Rare.
Curtis Martin was great with the Patriots immediately and was better with the Jets. Right. You got a Rod Woodson, who was with the Oakland Raiders, and then ended up on the Green Bay Packers and made 4 straight All-Pros, right? Like, these are rarities. Kurt Warner, Deion Sanders winning 2 Super Bowls back-to-back with 2 different teams, 2 different rivals. Right? And then now let's get into the meat and the bones. Because I think the next 3 is Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Drew Brees, or whatever order, right? That doesn't matter. And Reggie White, right? Tom Brady should be on here. I don't know why Tom Brady isn't on here, but that's neither here nor there. Let's dissect each of those situations. The top 4. Drew Brees, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, and Reggie White. Reggie White is because he had to sue the NFL to say, hey, I want to be on a different team. Why do I have to be stuck on the Philadelphia Eagles? What is this? This is bullshit. And he essentially created free agency. He's the martyr. He's the first.
He's the father. He's the father of free agency, basically.
Reggie White is the father of free agency. That's what it took. He had to sue the NFL to get to a different team. That's a very rare situation. Drew Brees is the greatest free agent signing of all time. The only reason why he was a free agent is because he was so mediocre with the Chargers that they drafted his replacement, and there was no reason for them to have 2 quarterbacks. And
he had the torn labrum, too.
He had the torn labrum. That is a unique, rare situation. Peyton Manning. The nigga, they had to fuse his neck back together, dog. Like, what you mean?
I remember at the time, Herbie, people weren't sure he'd ever play football again. Like the Colts had to roll out Curtis Painter. Do people remember Curtis Painter, Herbie? If he's not one of the 5 worst quarterbacks you ever seen, my God. And
then again, even with him, them not being sure that he was ever going to play again, they had to go away from him because the same time that he was going through what he was going through, Andrew Luck was up. Andrew Luck was going to be in the draft. They had no choice but to let Peyton Manning go. because they had to draft Andrew Luck. They had to fight for the right to get Andrew Luck. A rare situation that Andrew Luck, remember, Andrew Luck came out in 2012. Andrew Luck was supposed to come out in 2011. He was supposed to come out the same year that Cam Newton came out. If he decided to come out in 2011 instead of 2012, Peyton Manning might have still been on the Colts.
Right.
Like, there's these super unique situations that we don't remember. There's so many moving parts that get lost in translation. We see the final result, but there's once in a lifetime things that start these balls rolling, right? Like, free agency is a crapshoot. Free agency is a crapshoot. Tom Brady, he was only a free agent because Bill Belichick's an idiot who thought he was done. Bill Belichick's ego didn't allow him to realize that Tom Brady was not getting worse as a football player. Bill Belichick did not realize he was getting worse as a general manager.
Facts.
That's what it took. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And because he still had control, he convinced Robert Kraft that the person that was getting worse was not the person he was talking about. So we gotta be mindful of free agency. I have never cared about free agency as a Cowboys fan. I can't tell you the last time. I don't even know who the last free agent we signed. Everybody that we got that is good, we drafted. We drafted CeeDee Lamb. We drafted Dak Prescott. We drafted Michael Parsons. Everybody that we got, we good. We drafted, aside from Brandon Cooks. And that was a short stint. So free agency is tricky. When you hit, it is incredible. When you miss, you end up with Deshaun Watson, or you get a once-in-a-lifetime situation that falls in your lap, like a Peyton Manning, like a Saquon, like a Tom Brady, like a Drew Brees, bro. So there's no rhyme or reason to none of this shit, bro, at all.
Facts. It's crazy. It's crazy.
At all, bro. All right, man. Last topic before we get up out of here, man. I wish we caught this when the wave was hot, bro, because this is one of the most outlandish, ridiculous, unforeseen stories of in a while. Like, we haven't had one of these NFL stories in a while, bruh. But every now and then, the NFL is gonna NFL, and football players are gonna football player, dog. And of course, we're talking about Steve Smith, man. Like, yo, Steve Smith Sr., man. Like, you know me, I'm chronically online way more than I should be. I'm not proud of it, bruh. It is what it is. But I just happened to be on Twitter when the story broke. Because the thing with Twitter is a lot of bullshit on Twitter, a lot of lies on Twitter, bruh. So motherfuckers be lying, right? Like, you got to give it like 5 or 10 minutes. You got to read like different accounts to say, oh, this is actually real. I was online when the dude tweeted, literally when he tweeted to everybody that this dude was getting his wife was getting smashed by Steve Smith Sr. Like, Steve Smith Sr. of all people, bro.
Man, you know, Herbie, when it comes to these situations, like, I got 2 things I'm going to say about this, Herbie. The first thing is Tony Martinez, man, like, you a bitch, man. And this is why I say it, Herbie. This is why I say it, bro. This man went through the trouble to show the world, like, Herbie, every man who has their woman cheat on them, dog, they have to deal with that suffering either with themselves or within their social circle, Herbie. It's not the whole freaking world that gets to know about your wife stepping out on you. Like, to me, Herbie, and the only reason why he did it was because it was Steve Smith. Herbie, listen, I'm a different kind of dude. I just wouldn't want to, if I found my wife cheating with like a celebrity or a rock star or, you know, anything like that, Herbie, I just don't believe that. Why would you do that to yourself? Why would you put yourself out there like that? Like, bro, there's nothing, like, you're not wearing a badge. And here's the other part, Herbie. Here's the other part that gets me. And I understand if there's a lot of people who won't agree with this. This is just my opinion when it just comes to relationships in general, Herbie. What happened with your wife and Steve Smith, Tony? It was just nature. It was just too bad. You just listen, Herbie. This is what I gotta say about people, right? And we see it more and more in this hypersexual social media dating app society, Herbie. People in public have an image. We care far more, Herbie, as a whole. I'm not saying every single person, but as a whole, people care far more about their appearance. They care far more about how they're perceived than actually having substance. People care more about how they look when the spotlight is on. And when the spotlight is on someone else who has done wrong, you want to know where everybody else is, Herbie? They're in the dark. And nobody's watching you. And let me tell you something, Herbie. When nobody is watching those people, when they are put in a situation, because Herbie, human beings are the only creatures on the planet that defy nature. We fight nature externally, we fight nature especially internally. And when we are faced in a situation where our morality, where our customs, where our rules, which we made up, when most people, not everybody, because there are people who will stand on business, but Herbie, when a majority of people are in a situation where it's their morality versus their primal instincts and nobody's watching, they're going to fold, Herbie. They're going to fold. That's just my belief. So I look at the situation, especially in a situation where the guy's wife is working with an NFL player. She's working with a guy who's it's nature. Listen, cheating is wrong no matter how you put it because we say it's wrong. We made the rules. But here's the thing, Herbie, we made the rules while at the same time not taking any regard for what's inside of us. Me personally, Herbie, I don't even think human beings are naturally monogamous. That's just some shit we made up. I think humans are actually naturally more polygamous than monogamous. But we have customs. But we made rules. And things like this happen. There's a reason why, Herbie, and I know cheating isn't the only reason why 60% of marriages are failing, but adultery plays a big part. Finances,
adultery plays a big part.
It plays
all
a
of
big
that.
part.
All of that. There's pressure. There's stressors. There's so many things that will make you do things that you intended to not do when you made those vows, when you stood in front of that person, when you said "I do," when both parties said "I do," right?
Man.
Right. The instincts are gonna get caught. But this is where I have to disagree with you, right? Like you, and again, like one of the things, and I think that's why a lot of people like this show, and I think why this show is gaining traction is because everybody knows that we're being honest. We're not grifting. We don't have these conversations. There's no producers like, all right, you say this, and then you take that side. No. We agree on a lot of things. However, I do have to disagree with you on this one, right? If I'm Tony, I'm burning the whole city down. Everybody burning with me. We all dying. Fuck it. I got nothing to lose anymore.
Kamikaze.
Specifically because of this, right? Specifically because of this. You not finna say, turn you over and get deep inside of you, and I have to read my bitch said, you're so hot. Deep is an understatement. It felt like you were going to rearrange my IUD. You were so deep. Everybody got to die. Your family needs to know what's going on, sir. Your family needs to know what's going on. Nah.
Oh, shit.
Listen, hey, Raph, bro, I was deployed, blah, blah, overseas. Listen, that's the game, right? Like, every man. Here's the thing about right, and we could keep it a B. We appreciate the honesty. We appreciate the candor.
Appreciate that, Raphael. That's not easy to say, bro.
That's what it is. Bro. Listen, the reason why I think it's easy, we should be easy to say that, because I'm gonna be honest. Every man has been cheated on. Every single dude has been cheated on. I know I've been cheated on. I haven't caught anybody doing it, but I know it happened. Like the math says it happened, right? Whether you caught the person or not.
Days, Herbie.
Especially in these days.
That's what it is. And like, Herbie, people have to remember, like, there was a long time, like, when you think about how relationships used to be a thing where you were only able to deal with people within your vicinity. It wasn't like now where you have dating apps. Like, Herbie, these women get on dating apps, and within 20 minutes, depending on how hot she is, she can have 50 to 100 likes in 20 minutes.
Yep.
Like, this is like, for a human, like, Herbie, people have to think about where human beings come from. We come from small tribes, right? That's where civilization starts. It started with small groups. Now we are in a stage where not only do we have so much going on, so many decisions to make on a daily basis, now we also have access to people who we normally wouldn't even have any kind of access to. And in the game of women, obviously, men are naturally thirsty for women. That's just in our nature. And women have that. They're on the catbird seat, and they're able to just take their pick at whoever. And most of the guys that are gonna holler ain't gonna get no play. But Herbie, if 300 guys hit you up within a month, you mean to tell me you're not gonna like one of those niggas? Like, I'm sorry, the math ain't mathing, Herbie. Like at some point you have to
bro.
You have to take a step back and go. That's why, Herbie, I just stopped dealing with dating apps, bro. Because at the end of the day, it's like for me, I'd rather just see a chick at the laundromat or at Publix talking in line, and she fuck with me, she fuck with me. If not, it's cool. I'm gonna live this to fight another day. But in this day and age, Herbie, that's why. And I'm someone who wants to get married, bro. Like I reached a point where
We can't
I realized.
listen. This sucks. And we matter of fact, let's have that conversation, right? And we probably gonna go long. We're gonna cut it short, but we could go long because I actually wanted to have this conversation, and I appreciate your candor because it leads us to have a bigger conversation for everybody in the chat and stuff like this, right? Let's be honest. For somebody that's like you who says I want to get married, right? Things when you see this, it reinforces all the worst things that you already fear about getting married as a man.
Herbie,
right?
being a side nigga fucked me up. Being a side nigga fucked me up, man. Like Herbie, like Herbie, man. Like when you see the other face of women, man, and I don't judge, man. I love any woman that I ever fucked with, dog. Like for real, like I don't look at them different. But when I look at it from, here's a saying, Herbie. I'll give you a saying, Herbie, that somebody said, and I don't agree with it. And I'm gonna tell you why. I saw somebody say once online, and I thought to myself, this is funny. The nigga said, if you love women, you don't understand them. If you understand women, you can't love them. Herbie, that's not true. Herbie, that's not true. That's not true. You can love women if you understand them. You just have to know how to love a woman. You can't fight. You can't use your emotion to fight reality. You know what I'm saying? She's never yours, Herbie. It's just your turn, man.
Mm-hmm.
Just enjoy your turn, man.
How long is your turn? Is your turn? And again, this is where there's a part of this where, the wife is going to find a way to blame the husband. You weren't there. You weren't fulfilling my needs. You were there financially, but you weren't there emotionally. You were there emotionally there, but you weren't there physically, yada, 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 right? And that is true because it is a very hard line to fulfill everything that a person wants. But at the end of the day, you made a vow, right? You made a vow. I made a vow.
Rules.
This is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, I expected you making that vows, your loyalty to be a part of that. I don't think people understand what marriage is in a lot of situations. You have beautiful couples who do 30, 40, 50, 60 years who are happily in love the entire time. It's rare, but it's possible. But when you have situations like this, it sucks because it's like, as a woman, you have to move smarter. Like,
yeah, right? How you let yourself get caught like that?
Of all the people, Steve Smith Sr.? Like, come on, man. I'm not no shade of Steve Smith Sr. Steve Smith Sr. is a professional athlete, one of the 1% of the 1% of men that's ever existed on a number scale. How many people can say they were a football player? How many people can say they were a good football player? How many people can say that they're more than likely going to be a Hall of Famer?
That's why I say it's nature,
men.
Herbie.
Right?
That's why I say it's nature, Herbie. Because listen, homegirl had a chance to get some NFL dick. She said, "Fuck her husband. He a lame."
Hold on, we got to get to these comments. These comments is hilarious, bro. True Blazer said that little cat has brought down empires. Every single war has been started over pussy, bro. That's it.
Ask King Solomon what happened, bro. Listen, Herbie. Some of the greatest kings recorded in history. Herbie, some of the greatest. Herbie, I'll give you a Bible verse. This is how serious this shit gets. I actually saved this shit because one day I read this shit and I said, you know what? I'm going to keep this in my mind for the rest of my life so I don't forget. I favorited this shit, Herbie, just so I can never forget it. Hold on. I'm looking it up right now. Hold on.
And while you doing that, I got this one right here, bro. And Raffy, man, he was like, I was like, my guy, if my girl's dad didn't come over, I'd be in jail. I had my rifle in my chair. Dog, I was there. Like, they will make you crash out. It will make you crash out. My man
Herbie.
Tony, this is the only way he could crash out. It was either expose this shenanigans or everybody gotta go, bro. Like, he even tagged Antonio Brown. He tagged ESPN. He tagged NFL Network.
He wanted this shit to be messy, dog. This man wanted a massacre. Herbie, he wanted blood, man. Tony Martinez wanted blood. This is the Bible quote, Herbie. This is the Bible.
Go ahead.
Proverbs 31:3, Herbie. Chapter 31, verse 3. It says, "Do not spend your strength on women, your vigor for those who ruin kings." This is in the Bible.
That's a
Herbie.
bar. That's a
Herbie, this is in the Bible. This is in the Bible. Which is, you know what I'm saying? Like, bro, like niggas lose they listen, man. Like, listen. And I know this is hard for everybody to do. Like, I've reached this stage in my life, Herbie. If I'm in a relationship with a woman and she cheats, I ain't gonna do all that angry shit because first of all, I'm already smart enough to know I can't trust nobody 100%. Like, it's just part of the game. Like, you can't control how other people move. People were, you know, like Future said, she said she was an angel. She fucked a rapper and 3 singers. Like, Herbie, I've never met a woman in my entire life who said, "Yeah, I cheated on all my niggas," or I cheated. Like, people are gonna bring that face. They're gonna act like they're holier than thou, and then behind closed door, you don't know what the fuck is going on. But if my woman ever cheats on me, Herbie, she's getting a silent death, bro. And when I say, and what I mean by that is, I'm gone. Like, I'm gonna play it cool. Like, I'm at the point now I can play it cool. I'm at the point now to where it's just like, damn, I'm hurting, but I know what's gonna hurt you more, Herbie. You want to know what's gonna hurt somebody more? You disappearing, and the only time they hear from you is when they hear from your fucking lawyer. That's it. That's it. Because let me tell you, the emotion, the anger, the tears, that's what they want. I ain't gonna give you that satisfaction, Herbie. You just gonna get them paid. Like, what you gonna come home one day, you're gonna be like, you're gonna call my phone, the number gonna be changed. You're gonna look, you ain't gonna see my computer, you ain't gonna see none of my shit, no weed, you ain't gonna see nothing. You know what I'm saying? And then you're gonna call my phone, your number blocked. And then just a month or two down the line, somebody gonna be chasing you down with divorce papers, dog. I ain't gonna let you know nothing, nigga. You know what I'm saying? You just gonna get them papers served. Like, I ain't got nothing else to say to you because at the end of the day, we all grown. We all know what is right and wrong. And at the end of the day, like I said, Herbie, you know, human morality has been around for centuries. But the problem is that when most people, Herbie, are put in a situation where we're faced with our primal instincts versus our morality, most people gonna fold. And I'm okay. And you know what? I ain't gonna judge you for that. But I ain't gonna stick around either. I'm sorry, it ain't happening.
Hey, listen, man. Listen, dog. Listen. I go through my bitch phone and I see this. I'm crashing out. I'm sorry, dog. Everybody got to know what's going on, man. I'm sorry, bro. Everybody, bro. If I look at my bitch's phone and that is staring back at me, first of all, I'm gonna say, yo, is that Steve Smith? Yo, what's going on? Yo, what? Yo, what is going on right now?
Oh my God.
It is hard enough to be cheated on, bro. There's nothing worse than being cheated on with somebody that is significantly better than you, bro. That really hurts, dog.
I mean, but Herbie, women cheat up. Think about this. If you're a man and your girl cheats on you, just know she thought, for whatever reason, whatever it was, she thought that guy was better. Women do not cheat down, Herbie. Men cheat down.
Because men cheat down 100%.
You know what I'm saying? It doesn't make it right or it doesn't make it any more right, Herbie. Or, you know what I'm saying? It's just as wrong. But men cheat down just because we're horny and we're disgusting like that. When women cheat, it's way more impactful because they're cheating because for whatever something about that nigga they see is better than you. That's why it hurts men so much. When a woman cheat, that's why niggas get cheated on. They be like, "Did you moan?" Like, niggas get cheated on and ask stupid ass questions, dog, because our egos just don't see it coming. But I'm smart enough to understand it has nothing to do with you, dog. It's just nature.
This nigga sending her selfies, man. Talk about, ooh, I was looking chunky that day. Y'all bitches, y'all having real conversations too? Like, y'all having banter? Oh nah, fuck all this. Fuck all this.
Man, listen, hey, when Tony saw them Texas, man, that's his. He caught an ulcer, Herbie. That nigga's stomach turned upside down. Herbie, there's nothing, Herbie. Let me tell you something. This is just my opinion, Herbie. I've had family and friends die. I feel like heartbreak hurts me worse than that. Heartbreak hurts me worse than death. As a man, no man wants his heart broke because you knew you could have avoided it. You didn't have to deal with it, bro. Death is something that's coming for everybody, but you didn't have to deal with heartbreak, Herbie. That's what makes it hurt so much.
Like, I can't imagine. I can't
That shit
imagine
make you
it.
sick, dog. That shit make you
That
sick as
shit.
hell.
You
That shit
heart,
make
you
you
heart,
sick.
you hearting this nigga goofy pictures too. Like you really
Sick.
like this nigga. Oh, this is. Oh man, yo, this is
That shit
nuts.
make you sick.
This is nuts. He got a heart on this nigga chunky face picture, man. This is nuts, man. Does Steve Smith get the axe on the show? It depends, man. Like these people, bro, it depends on how good you are at your job, how much they want you, and how much of the backlash it is, right? Like, I think they like Steve Smith because if they wanted to ask him, he would have been gone by now. Matter of fact, I don't even know if he got fired yet. We'll see.
I haven't seen anything about it, to be honest.
Yeah,
I haven't heard nothing.
I think he survived this. I think people are gonna lay down. But before we get out of here, this also is a part of the story because now that we have had time to process this, right? Like, and this is where the internet getting involved, and this is where it sucks. But ultimately, I'm on the side of what Tony did because Tony was like, "You ruined my family, I'm gonna ruin yours." Now, I don't think he had any idea that it would spiral to what it is to now where Steve Smith's family are getting hate messages, and now Steve Smith's son has to say, "Hey, why are y'all sending all these hateful messages to us?" Like they had something to do with it, bro. Like why are y'all mad at them?
I hate that fake outrage. You see, this goes to exactly what I was talking about, bro. Everybody loves when the spotlight is on somebody else. Everybody loves pointing the finger, throwing tomatoes. You know what I'm saying? Like, but y'all ain't no better. Y'all the spotlight just ain't on you. You still in the dark. You know what I'm saying? Like that's crazy.
Oh,
man.
they had a kid. They had like a 1-year-old, Raffy. They got a kid. That's why he was crashing out. He's like, you ruined our family. Like this is like the family's done. You know what I'm saying? Like the family is over. So that's why he went completely nuclear. Like,
yeah, he went nuclear. Yeah.
He went nuclear, right?
He went atomic, dog. He went full atomic.
They just had a kid. I think their kid is like 1 or 2 years old. They just had a kid. You feel me? He was like, I bought you a house. I was with you for 2 domestic violence. Like, this is bad, right? Like he felt the ultimate betrayal. This wasn't my bitch cheated on me. This is a bitch that I knew was a piece of shit cheated on me. The worst person to cheat on you. The person that you know you're not supposed to save, and you save anyway. So I know he was like, I'm going crazy. And for Steve Smith, you involve your family in this because you're not on point. Right? Like, you can cheat with whoever you want. Go get an escort. Go get a lot lizard, bruh. Go get a what's it called, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, go cheat with people who you're supposed to cheat with when you're at that level, when you have that much to lose on the line.
You got to cover that paper trail if you're going to go that route, Herbie. Like for both of them. Like that's the thing with people, man. It's just like, and usually women, Herbie, and this is where I give women their props. Part of the reason why most men don't know their girls be stepping out is because women are just like women make great detectives, they make great fucking spies too. Like them hoes know how to cover their tracks.
Listen,
man.
there's never been a woman that got caught cheating
that didn't want to get caught.
Did not want to get caught. Like
pretty much, dog. Yeah.
Like she had the number. She had his number as 3. She had everything saved. Like she wanted this. There was a real connection that she had with Steve Smith. Same thing with Steve Smith. There was a real connection, that desire to cheat, to know that you ain't doing what you're supposed to be doing. Which is why you're not supposed to do that. You got a whole family. You got 5 kids, dog. And they're old enough to be online. It ain't worth it. Go have sex with a stripper, my dude. Go to Vegas.
Right, if you got to get your rocks off like that, man. Like, don't put your family at risk, my guy.
Don't put your family at risk. Your son got to see you looking like this right now, dog. Your son has to see this. You over here cheesing about another bitch. Like yo, what?
That's the biggest of party fouls, Herbie. The biggest, dog.
Because you can't talk your way out of this. You can't talk your way out of this, right? Like, if you had little kids, like they were a couple months old, you feel me? Then you could explain. They are looking at you like, my dad's a fucking loser, dog. Really? For her? For that bitch? Really?
The fucking trombone player, man. Not even a cheerleader or something. Fucking trombone player, man. Come on, Steve Smith.
Yeah, man. This situation is
Tripping.
all like Rafi said, bro. Raphael said, bro. I'm calling the man Rafi. Like we got that kind of connection, man. Raphael said, man, all bad. Yes, all bad, bro. It is all bad,
All
man.
bad, man. All
All right,
bad.
Mr. Rob, man. You got any last things before we get up out of here, man?
Listen, man. I guess just to the last conversation, man. If this is my last message, because we don't normally talk about these kind of things, because we're a football pod. This is one of the rare times we get to talk about this. For the fellas out there, man, I want y'all to listen to me, man. If you got you a good woman, my G, in the Bible it says, he who finds a wife has found a good thing. My friends, if you get you a good one, don't fuck it up. Don't fuck it up chasing this ass. Lust is nothing but an endless void. Trust me, man. I've been living it my whole life. That's why I'm tired. And of course I want to get married in the worst era for a man to want to get married, dog. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, of course I feel it now. But, if you have yourself a good woman, a good woman, my guy, man, you take care of her, bro. Because listen, out here, these women, they ain't playing no more, dog. They ain't playing no more. They said, you know what? Oh, y'all been playing us all these years. Women were just like, we could do it better. And they can. They can, Herbie. They just have the access to do it. That's the problem. Will they keep the guys? No. But they can play men. They can play men, dog. And if you got you a good woman, fellas, hold on to that, man. Because that's like gold right now.
Nah, facts, man. Hey, man, appreciate all the EM, man. Appreciate you. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate the comments, man. Rafi, thank you. True Blazer, thank you, man. All
Fins
of y'all
up.
coming
Fins
in,
up,
man.
EM. Fins
man,
up,
all
man.
of y'all coming in, man. You know what I'm saying? Round of applause for everybody in the chat, man. We appreciate that you guys were here. We appreciate that we were able to entertain you for this entire conversation, bro. Like, again, we do this for y'all. We do this for the community. We love the interaction. We love talking about sports. We love having deep, meaningful, insightful conversations that you're not gonna get on the ESPNs or the First Takes or
True
whatever,
Blazer.
right? Like,
Appreciate you, man.
we have the
You're always a real one.
opportunity to have these conversations with you, and we have the opportunity to let y'all explore y'all truths with us, bro. So it's a beautiful thing, and man, we appreciate that y'all here. Going forward, though, we will be on Mondays, tentatively. Mondays will be when we're gonna do lives. We did window. Matter of fact. Yeah, we'll try Mondays, but yeah, Mondays is when we're gonna do the live. So expect us on Monday next week, not Wednesday, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Everything we got. What else we got, man? Appreciate the episode, man. See y'all next week, man. Deuces.
Deuces, fellas. Appreciate y'all.